So we're now on to section B of question 17 of the 2015 KCSE Maths Paper 1. The question reads, the partners sold the plots at 50,000 shillings each and spent 30% of the profit realised to pay for administrative costs. They shared the rest of the profit in the ratio of their contributions. Calculate the net profit realised. So, to answer this question, we need to go back to the previous section to work out how many plots they sold, because we're given the price each of the plots was sold for, but not the total amount that all the plots were sold for. We're also told that the partner spent 30% of the profit realised to pay for administrative costs. So I'll highlight that as well, 30% for administrative costs. They shared the rest of the profit in the ratio of their contributions. So we're asked in B part 1 to calculate the net profit realised. So the net profit realised is the profit that they had after they'd paid for administrative costs. So we can go back to our answer for A part 2, and we know that the number of plots was 160. So let's make a note of that, 160. And to find out the profit that they achieved after selling each of the plots before paying the administrative costs, that's 160 times by 50,000 shillings. We can quickly put that into our calculators. So that's 160 times by 50,000, which is the cost they sold each plot for. And we get for that 8 million shillings. So 8 and 6 zeros. But then we're told that they spent 30% of the profit to pay for administrative costs. So if they spent 30% on administrative costs and a whole, so this 8 million is 100% of the profit, then what they would have left is 100% take away 30%, which is 70%. So to find out the net profit, that would be 70% or 0.7, because we know that a percentage can be represented as a decimal, times by 8 million. And that is equal to 8 million times by 0.7. We can put that into our calculator, and we get 5.6 million, or 5,600,000 shillings. Always remember your units when you're answering a question like this. So B part 2 says, find the difference in the amount of the profit earned by Amina and Bosire. So we need to use this answer that we obtained in the first part, and we also need to recall the ratios from the previous section, because we're told that they shared the rest of the profit in the ratio of their contributions when it came to buying the land, and we're told that in part A. So we're told in part A that the ratios in which they split the contribution was 4 to 5 to 7. So that was 4, 5, 7, and Amina was the 4, and Bosire was the 5. So that means that the amount that, and we know that these ratios can also be expressed as fractions. So for Amina, that would be 4 over 4 plus 5 plus 7, which is the same as 9 plus 7, which is 16. So that's the same as 4 sixteenths, and for Bosire, that's the same as 5 sixteenths. So we know that the amount earned in profit by Amina is 5.6 million times by 4 over 16, which is the same as a quarter. And the amount, so this is the amount earned by Amina, and the amount earned by Bosire is the same as 5.6 million multiplied by 5/16. So that's the amount earned by Bosire. And we can and let's work out what these are, and I'll write them quickly here. So for Amina, it's 5.6 million multiplied by 0.25 or divided by 4. Either way, you can put into your calculator to get the same result. And that comes to 1.4 million or 1,400,000. For Basire, we have 5.6 million multiplied by 5 divided. Sorry, this is supposed to. I've written down a 6. This should be a 16. So that's multiplied by 5 divided by 16, which is 1,750,000. So we take this here and we take this here and we find the difference, and that comes to the difference. Let's call that D is equal to 350,000 shillings. That's the difference that they earn. So we subtract this number here from this number here, and that gives us this amount here, the difference they earned. So that's the whole of question 17 answered.